Hello everybody and welcome back to A Royal Reader. My name is Sinidra and today I'm going to be doing my October wrap up. So October was not a good month in terms of reading as well as the books that I read. I had quite a few disappointments. Yeah, I didn't really read much as well. I think I read about 3 books when I had I think like 4 or 5 on the TBR, so fortunately I did not read very much, but let's just get into it. Also, if we could ignore this lovely little spot that I have right in the corner of my mouth, that would be great. Yes, maybe I'll just face this way from the entire time. These are the 3 books that I ended up actually completing. Now, it took me quite a while to complete all of these, unfortunately, so I definitely would say that that is the main reason why I did not read very much. So starting off with the first book that I completed, that is The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. So this is a paranormal historical romance that is set in the 18th century. We follow our main character Celine as she travels from France to New Orleans to start a new life. And in the midst of doing so, she ends up getting caught up in a string of murders that end up happening throughout New Orleans. And she also gets wrapped up with this group called the Court of Lions that is filled with a bunch of mysterious people from all walks of life. So this is a vampire novel. So this was a sort of new experience and sort of something that I was not expecting, because I do read majority of fantasy, so vampires don't really turn up in that. So this was definitely an interesting read. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. Unfortunately, there was just certain aspects of it that I didn't like. The writing is lovely, but unfortunately there are full sentences said in French and there's no translation, or like they don't even give you a hint as to what was possibly said, which I found 1 really annoying and 2 kind of cheesy. I don't particularly mind if there are some words written in a language that it's like set in the country that it's set in, but in this case it was just really frustrating because I felt like I was missing out on something, and it just sort of took me away from the magic that this book was trying to produce, I guess. Now, I really did think that I was going to love this because I thought it was going to give me the vibes of like the TV show The Originals, which is a spin-off from The Vampire Diaries. It's set in New Orleans. It's got vampires, it's got witches. I honestly thought that this was going to be like that, and unfortunately it wasn't. However, the ending did intrigue me a little bit, so I do have the second book and I do plan on picking it up one day, just because I'm interested to see how they're going to try and spin it, because it was kind of like a bit of a, well, okay type of ending, so I'm excited to see where that goes. And yeah, the characters were alright. I did find them slightly annoying and very, like, they talk big game in a way. Like, our main character Celine, she has this deep dark secret that she doesn't want anyone to know about, and she constantly keeps repeating it, and it's just, it felt like she was sort of, I have a secret but I'm not going to tell you. And like, we get that you have a secret, it's okay, you don't need to mention it every time you get close to someone. So that was kind of annoying for me. And our love interest Bastian, he was not present a lot in this, which I found kind of confusing, because all of a sudden she's just like in love with him, and I'm like, you've known him for a week. So there is a little bit of insta-lovey in there, but I'm intrigued enough to continue on. So yes, The Beautiful, 3.5 stars. So the next book that I finished was unfortunately a bit of a disappointment, and I am really upset to say it. Even though I did enjoy it, I just didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to. And if you want to see my reactions to this book, then you can go and check out my reading vlog of it. So the book that I am talking about is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This I thought I was going to really enjoy because it just sounded so magical and whimsical and just everything that I wanted, and it sort of fell flat for me. Now in this we follow our main character Addie LaRue, who is escaping from an arranged marriage she does not want to be in. She stumbles into the woods and ends up meeting a devil of sorts who promises her that he can give her anything she wants. So she wishes for more time. She wants to have the freedom to go and see the things that she wants without having to have any sort of restrictions limiting her to what she wants to do. And so he gives her that, but with a catch. The catch is that everybody who meets her will forget her the moment they look away. So Addie LaRue lives her life 300 years and doesn't have anyone that remembers her. She can't make friends, she can't have relationships. It is a very, very sad story. We follow her throughout her 300 years of living until the present day in 2014, where she ends up going to this bookshop and the boy behind the counter actually remembers her from a previous visit. That is where our story sort of takes off, and it is a whimsical, interesting tale, don't get me wrong, but there is no plot. And I think that was definitely one of the things that was sort of hindering my experience. I was sort of waiting for some big event to happen and there was none. Like, there's a couple of moments where I was like, oh my god, but there was never anything that I sort of like had me like, you know, excited to turn the next page. The writing in this is amazing. It is flawless. It's beautiful. V.E. Schwab has a way of writing sort of small, mundane things that can really affect you. Like, she was talking about how Addie had this relationship in a way with this girl, and just the things that they had been doing over the course of like 3 months of Addie, you know, constantly going and visiting her and seeing her and, you know, creating those bridges again and again after 24 hours. And it really makes you hurt. The tone of this whole book is just pain and loneliness and longingness, and that's definitely obvious. There was no plot that really drove that feeling home. Like, yes, I cried at the end, 100%. I just didn't cry all the way through the way some other people did. Yes, this definitely felt more of like a character study rather than an actual like story, if that makes sense. So it was definitely a disappointment because I thought I was going to get like this some big adventure, and it was sort of like a medium adventure. It was just not what I expected, and it didn't end the way I wanted it to. So that kind of also just, you know, threw a spanner in the works. I was like, oh gosh darn it. I didn't actually say that. Who even says that anymore? So yes, this unfortunately was a bit of a letdown for me, but I did enjoy it. It's just not what I expected. It's definitely a slow book. So it took me about 2 weeks to read it, which is not normal for a V.E. Schwab book for me. So I was definitely upset by that. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And the last book that I finished was my saving grace for the month, and that is The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackworth. This story was so good. It was so fun. I couldn't get enough of this. I stayed up until like 1 AM reading up. It was just so cool. So in this story we have our main character Claire, who is the head librarian of the Library of the Unwritten in one of the realms of hell. So in this, she is tasked with keeping all of the unwritten books safe and on their shelves and making sure that they don't manifest into an actual character which can then escape and then go and either like kill the author or try and make the author write the book and stuff like that. So at the beginning of this, we start off with a character escaping, and so it's up to Claire along with her assistant Brevity and this demon assistant that Lucifer has sent, Leto, in order to help Claire sort of regain the character back so they can take him back. It was just a wild adventure. There's also another book that has gone missing, and it's involving angels, and it's like the brink of all hell's gonna break loose, and it was just a crazy ride. Now, I really enjoyed this. This was fun and funny at the same time. You get to see all of the different sort of realms of afterlife that different religions have. Like, we obviously have hell, we have heaven, and then for like the Vikings, I guess you could say, and the Norse people, that's not sweet, wherever the Vikings come from, we have Valhalla. So that was really interesting. I did like that we do get to go to Valhalla and see like the Vikings, and that was just so cool. So this story is fantastic. It travels over different time periods as well, and we also get to see a found family coming to fruition, and just it was so good. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I am definitely excited to pick up the next book. I don't think it is a sequel. I think it's sort of like a companion novel, but either way, I'm so excited to read it. I want it immediately, so yes. Alrighty, so those are the 3 books that I read in the month of October. Let me know what you guys read down below in the comments. If you'd like to see more of me, then be sure to check out my Twitter and Instagram. Links are always down in the description box below. You can also check out my Goodreads so you can get reading updates whenever I do have an update. And yeah, please be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can see more of my videos. I would really appreciate it if you guys do. And I will see you guys in another video later on.